Hi guys, today I'm going to be interviewing Jenny Devlin, who's just graduated from Grace School of Art. She did 4 years studying a BA Honours in painting, and she's originally from Stanley. All right, so first of all, what made you decide to study art?
So in high school, actually, I actually wanted to be a vet starting off, but then I fainted in class and realized that wasn't the way to go. But I never saw art as like a proper career path, really. I didn't think that that was something that I could pursue. I didn't think I had any real talent in it whatsoever. But I basically decided to go and continue on with like studying art in high school. And my art teacher basically said, that's it, you're not leaving the classroom now, that's it, you're stuck in art until you leave high school. And I was like, well, that's okay with me because I actually enjoy it, but I never saw it as something I could have done. And then she suggested at a parents evening one night, I think it must have been fifth year or sixth year, and she basically just said to me, this is something that you could pursue as a career and you could actually be quite successful in. So that's how that came about.
Okay, oh, excellent. Okay, so tell me about your main sources of like inspiration. So like when you get an idea, how do you get it from an idea to like a finished piece?
Okay, so most of my work kind of revolves around sort of Greek mythology and stories about the stars. A lot comes from stories about the moon, lunar properties, that sort of thing. And basically, I do a lot of research. It takes a lot of time just going through books, going through the internet, looking up different factual sources, that sort of thing, and then taking elements of that and looking at other artists as well. So I've been looking a lot at the likes of like Julie Moretti, Norman Shaw, and Louise Hopkins for my last year. So basically, they were looking a lot at sort of editing. Well, a lot of their work looks like maps, but it's like a sort of abstract map. So it was a way of me trying to use their sort of way of editing, but in a different sense. So where they might have used geometric shapes to like edit parts of their maps out, I use basically just like pouring paint, that sort of thing, and stitching as well as another thing.
Okay. Oh, that's really interesting. So like so one of your main pieces, like I saw it was like a celestial star map. So like was that so what was the inspiration behind that? Was it kind of like so it's a lot of just reading books and trying to get stuff behind that?
Yeah, so it initially starts out that way. And then I think further into the year, I started to bring my sole focus down to the story of Cassiopeia and her sacrificing her daughter Andromeda because she had to appease the sea god Poseidon, because basically she was very rude to one of his wives. So that was his way of straightening it out. And he basically said, if you don't sacrifice your daughter, you'll be stuck in the stars. And Andromeda was basically saved by Perseus, who comes along at last minute, saves her from the sea monster Cetus. And from there, they end up getting trapped in the stars because the sacrifice never followed through. So a lot of my work just bases around that.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Okay, so like given all this, like how was like COVID-19, how's that this whole lockdown thing, how's that affected your ability to produce art? How's that influencing your way of thinking? Like
It's been very, very difficult. So I remember at the start of lockdown, I didn't actually go straight into working again. I sat with I set my flat up. It was very, very small, confined space, and I set it up, and I basically just sat in the setup for about a week, maybe even 2 weeks. And I just felt totally just blocked. I couldn't work, and it ended up with um me having to work on like 6 foot canvases that are in probably the ceiling goes up to about 7 or 8 feet, is not a lot of space, and it's probably about the same width, if you know what I mean. It's an incredibly cramped space. So I had about 5 different canvases around me, 2 of which were about 6-7 feet, and it was very, very difficult working in that sort of space. A lot of my work is cyanotypes as well. So my cyanotypes were all obviously rely on natural light because I couldn't get access to an exposure room the same way I would at Gray's. So having to do that outside, having to run upstairs, prime all the chemicals, and then get back outside, you know, expose that, and then rinse all the chemical off so that the image actually does come through is actually being of a good level of exposure and a good quality. It was very, very difficult doing all that sort of thing. So yeah, it's definitely been a challenging process, but I think it's probably, once you've gone through all that, what else can you not overcome, you know?
Okay. So how did moving your degree show to like virtually, how did that affect the experience, do you think?
I think for myself, when the degree show first opened on the opening night, there was a lot of problems with the chat room, so it was a bit more difficult for me because my chat room wasn't linked up properly, so I couldn't talk to people on the opening night, and that's probably the busiest night of the degree show, so you'd want to be there networking and speaking to potential people that want to buy your work, and it's very, very difficult to do that when you don't have the same sort of in-person and the same atmosphere. Really, it's a lot harder because you know, these people aren't in front of you. If you're offline on the chat room, you won't get these messages coming through, and they won't be like left behind. They only come through if you're online at the time that they're sent. So you have to be like online constantly, pretty much. And I didn't get online until about Tuesday the following week when it opened on the Friday. So that was really difficult. But actually building the virtual degree show, that was incredibly tough, and we were lucky to have such a good team behind us actually helping us with it. There was a lot of issues where we were working with this program called Glitch, and every time I saved it, it would disappear, start again, hours of work lost. So it was very frustrating, but it's actually come through to be quite a successful show, I believe, and you know, a lot of us are really enjoying that sort of, you know, we've been locked inside for how many months, you know, like we're just getting that social aspect with the degree shows still, even though it is just online, it's still something. So yeah.
All right. So how do you see your art evolving in the future? Like, do you have sort of like ideas and inspirations? Like,
yeah, so my actual plan is I'm basically going into a master's in social work coming September, so that could lead me down a lot of different paths, which is possibly art therapy, that sort of thing. But another point of that is that I'll have another career going at the same time that will be able to fund my artwork. So I'd be able to just delve deeper into a lot of the areas that I'm interested in and continue to keep my studies going, but be able to actually support myself as well. You know, that's the hardest part, I think, when you leave art school is, you know, having a successful career solely with art. You have to have a job on the side of some description, because it's very difficult to make money either way, you know? So it's looking like a challenging road ahead, but I'm really excited about it. So it looks like it'll be quite exciting. So yeah.
Perfect. All right. Thanks for that, Jenny. Perfect. Cheers.